Hey guys, how are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine, and this is part 2 of my paranormal experiences. This one's an interesting one. This isn't necessarily about hauntings, but more about just weird things that have happened that are completely and utterly unexplainable, or just really weird. So let's get into it. Now, one of the things that has always been quite weird in my mind was something that happened when I was very young. I was 3 years old, apparently. I only really heard this from my parents, and I can't remember at all any of it. I was only 3, can't remember this happening, but they swear by it that this happened. And I trust them. So, the town I live in used to have a railway station, and that was taken away basically when all the train stations were sort of being shut down for the iron, etc. So there's nothing that tells you in the town that there was once a train station there. There's now a health centre there, and there's a supermarket, and there's no trace really that there was once a train station there. Me and my mum were working alongside the supermarket we have, and I just stopped. My mum just said, "You just stopped." And you looked over at the health centre and you pointed and said, "There used to be a train station there. I had a dream there was a train station and that's where it was." And my mum was quite new to the area at this time, and she was like, "Okay, that's a bit weird. That's just weird how she..." So it really bugged her for a bit, but I was normal afterwards. And she went home and asked my dad, and my dad was like, "Yeah, there used to be a train station right there." And I have no way of finding that out. My town has not been on TV, let alone for TV for a railway station. And I didn't really watch TV when I was that age. I was too busy running around in the garden somewhere. They hadn't ever talked about it. My mum didn't know about it at all. And there's no explanation for it. And I continue to say that I had a dream that a man went on the train with like a sack of coal. And my dad said that it could have been his dad, because his dad apparently used to do that. So, very, very strange. Very strange indeed how I knew that when I was at such a young age. Past life shit going on there, but it terrified me so much. When I heard about it, I was like, that's just weird. Also, when I was younger, apparently I used to look at the corner of the room when I was a baby and used to laugh as if I was laughing for something, and did it quite consistently. So that's also a bit weird. Another weird thing that happened to me was one night, something very weird happened. Now, I have an uncle, my uncle Jimmy, we're quite close. He used to live in Land's End, which is right down in Kent in England. And he used to come up now and then, but he basically had cancer, and it got to the stage where it was really bad. And he was getting very, very ill with it. And we were sort of expecting that he was going to pass away, but he had been like that for months, and we didn't know when he was going to pass away. It was very uncertain, to be honest. And that night, fell asleep normally, and I had one dream. And I only had one dream, which is very rare for me, and it's rare for me to even remember my dreams. So already this is weird, just a bit for me. And it was like pitch black. There was like literally nothing. I wasn't a person. I was just there. I was just like an onlooker, and I was just still. No movement. I was just fixed point on my dream. And then directly ahead of me is like a tiny pin of light. Tiny little dot. And it grows. And it grows. And it grows until it like veils my whole vision. And then it just goes. It's just gone. As if it just retreats really, really quickly in a split second. And the whole of my dream is just black. And there was this feeling of like pure peace with it. I've never felt anything like that ever before. And I woke up quite naturally the next day and just sort of was like, that's really weird. Really weird. I've never had that before. I've never had like a calm dream with that sensation before, or seeing a light like that. It's very weird. So for the rest of the day, for most of the day, I was like, that was a really weird dream, can't explain it. And then we get a phone call, and my dad answers it at around 10 o'clock in the morning. I was up maybe 8, I think. 8. Well, we either had a phone call sort of middle of the day, and it's news that my uncle has passed away during the night. And then two things clicked together, which it could be coincidence, sure, but... And I knew he was sort of dying, but he was in such a bad condition for so long that it's very unusual that I would have known exactly what night I would have had the dream on that night. So it was very, very weird, and something I can't really explain. But I remember afterwards I wasn't happy that I came back from seeing the light, because it was really, really peaceful, which is sort of comforting, but very weird because I may have just seen the light for a reason. Another experience that I had specifically when I was younger, I specifically remember it, and to be honest, I'm very confused about this. I only remembered this recently, and I don't know whether it's my imagination or what, but things seem to happen that only I can see or hear, and it sort of freaks me out. I was coming home from Brownies, so I'm already around 7 or 8, and basically it's near Christmas, and I look in the sky and there's like this star. This sounds very biblical. It didn't mean to be. I wasn't particularly a religious kid. I didn't really grow up in a religious household, even though I went to a Catholic school, but myself, I'm not Catholic. I'm really not religious right now, but there's a star, and it looked like, had like 4 points like that, and it was sort of weird. I can't really explain it, and I just looked at it and I was like, that's a really weird star. I'm like, don't you see that? And my parents were like, blah 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 blah, and I'm like, look, there's a star, and they're like, yeah. It was just really weird for me. I have no idea about what that was, or if I'm making it up, or if it's imagination, but I think I should say, because I remember it specifically, and it was just really weird. Another thing that I was only able to sort of hear and see was I was taking a walk with my mum one day, and just walking along this sort of place, which is actually supposed to be haunted, but never had experienced myself. And there is like suddenly this bird absolutely screaming. I've never heard a bird sound quite like this before. It was almost like a human scream, but it's like screeching. And I'm like, bloody hell, what the hell is that? This was only a few years ago. I was probably only 15, 16 maybe. And like, oh bloody hell, and my mum's with me, and I'm like, don't you hear that? And she's like, hear what? And I'm like, there's a bird absolutely screaming its head off. And mum's like, no, I don't hear anything. Now I understand that some people are going to say that it's because younger children can often hear sort of higher pitched sounds than adults. But at this stage I was already 15, that should have worn off a bit. So maybe my ears are hypersensitive to things like that, but it was just very weird, and not exactly, it was just weird. It could be explainable, but in the moment it was just a bit creepy. Those are my sort of weird experiences that I can't really explain. But now on to a few of the things that have happened recently, which have been quite a lot. So recently I just moved around, not recently, like 2 years ago. 2 years ago I sort of moved very quickly, and nothing's really happened in this flat. Nothing's really happened at all, apart from a few things. One of them being, we have like a statue of sort of a rabbit in sort of like a suit. I can't remember what series it's from. Beatrix Potter, that's what it's from. And it's sort of a statue of that. And my mum used to have like a beaded necklace around it, just for it there. And it was, the string that held it together was like solid, really, really tough, sort of elastic. Like you could not stretch it that much. But if you stretched it a lot, it would like, you can. It was really, really solid. And the only way it could have like, there was no particular pressure on it around this statue's neck, basically. So one day, my mum comes to my room and says, Sophie, come into the front room. So I come in, not knowing what to expect, and this beaded necklace is now snapped. There's beads along the floor, mainly behind the sofa, and it's just really, really sort of weird. And we're just like, what the fuck has happened, basically? And we find this sort of string, and it's just a solid cut. Just a solid, no fraying, no thinness, no weakness. It's just like someone's done a scissor snap. We're like, what? So I tried to figure out how many beads are mainly behind, so I'm like, that's just weird. There's no particular pressure. It's been on that thing for ages, and it's just snapped now. And also, a weird thing is, at our old house in our bungalow, we had a picture up, and one night there's this massive big bang, and we're like, what the hell? And we have a portrait, and at the back, we usually have a string that held it up, and the string hadn't frayed. It just like it had been cut. So already we're like connecting the two together. I've just got chills. That's unusual. I didn't have chills in the last one. Great, I feel great now. So that was just really, really weird. Around a year ago, well, a few months ago, small things start to happen. Like I had like a nail polish box, and I had a lid for it. I specifically remember the lid being off when I woke up this particular day, and I put it back on. Just it is, very secure, double checked it, and I was like, right. Went to the bathroom, got dressed, etc. Came back, it's off. And I'm like, that's a bit weird. I'm pretty sure I put that on beforehand. The small things like my curtain, I always have it behind the bin because it really annoys me when it's not. Came in and it had been put over the bin, and I was like, really weird. Small things, just tiny things start to catch my attention, and I was like, really weird things are starting to happen. One of my posters, who I hadn't gone near, and that isn't affected by the door, start to have a rip at the top, and I was like, I've not been near that. No one's been in my room that I have, apart from my mum. She hasn't been near it, so why? Very confused. Just three little things that are very explainable, but just kept sort of happening, and just this feeling like something wasn't too right. Yeah, it wasn't. My nana, just maybe a week after that, passed away quite suddenly. We weren't expecting it, and after that, nothing else caught my attention. It was like something was trying to warn me and forebode what was to come, and just say, listen, sort of getting my attention to be like prepared for what's coming. And that's just really weird. I just find that so weird, but sort of comforting that something is warning me when bad stuff happens. One of my aunties, on my mum's side, most of them are in England. My auntie's was up, and she was in the living room. I was in here doing some work or working on something, and I instantly hear a voice, and I think it's my nana, and I don't know, but this voice, it sounded like almost it just passed by like a breeze, and it's really weird, and it's like, it's not like they're missing me at all. And that was sort of something my nana might have said, and it just freaked me out. I was like, what? I just heard a voice. Pretty clear enough to pick out words, and that really freaked me out. And I told my mum, and she was like, that sort of sounds like her. So yeah, that was really weird. At the moment, quite often I think I'm hearing like little snippets of voices, which could easily be my imagination, but this is really clear. Can't really explain it. That was quite a while after my nana passed away, so I can't be for sure. At my dad's flat, and at my work actually, I've had something happen very similar. Well, not very similar, but I was in the living room one day, and I just had this overwhelming feeling that someone had been at the kitchen window here and just walked right through. Had this overwhelming feeling that someone had done that, and I was like, that is really creepy. So this was at sort of 11 o'clock at night, and I was alone. My dad's gone to bed. I had my feet on the floor, and there's like footsteps behind the couch, and they're pretty damn heavy. This could have been the person up above us, because sometimes the vibration does carry through the building, but that feeling, I couldn't get over it, and the fact that it was very quickly after that just made me feel really weird. So I sort of liked it and went to bed really quickly. So yeah. But I also had the same feeling at my work that someone had just walked past me. very strange. It's almost like you could see the movement, but there's nothing there. It was very strange. And one of the last stories I'm going to say was me and my mum and my dad were going to one of my parents' friend's house for sort of like a dinner party for a meal. And while we were walking, I looked up ahead, and I swear to God, there was like shadows mucking around. Now, their house is at the corner of the street, so the street goes like that and then that. So we're walking down here, and it looks like there's people there, but there's a hedge there. So I'm like, what the fuck are they doing? It looked like delinquent quids mucking around with a hedge. And I'm getting really creeped out. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I don't mention this to my parents, because I don't think they're seeing this. And I don't hallucinate. I wasn't scared of the dark at this point. And I'm like, what is going on? And once we get closer, nothing. There's just nothing. And I'm like, that is really weird. Really weird. So many little things like that happen. And I can't necessarily explain it. Sure, it could have been kids, but there was no running sounds. There was no one else on the street particularly. It was no sound to it. It was just shadow figures, which is really, really creepy. I was not comfortable at all that night. So yeah, hope you like this video, guys. And if you have any experiences yourself, leave it down in the comments below, because I am interested in what you guys have to say as well. So thank you for watching, guys. See you soon, and thank you for the support. See you later.